Hi everyone, I am here to do my final reflection of my placement and my practice framework. What a ride this journey has been in my undergrad. First of all, I'd like to pay my respect and acknowledge the traditional owners, past, present and emerging on the land which this presentation takes place. I'd also like to acknowledge past practices that have caused harm and that all First Nation children have the right to connection to land, country and culture. Okay, well, I suppose start talking about my journey in general about everything. I guess in my practice framework PowerPoint presentation, I am a mum of three, a wife. I'm very driven and have been in this whole journey to complete my studies. Look, it hasn't been easy by any means. It's been actually quite hard. I have struggled at times to continue to study. I felt throughout the journey I've really struggled with the theories. I'm more a practical person, more hands-on person. So, when assignments and stuff like that come up, I really struggled in that academic, setting. It really did struggle for me. And I think the best thing I did through this whole journey is that I jumped out of my comfort zone and went to the CQU Accessibility Centre, which can I say is an amazing resource for staff, and got the help that I probably should have had 20 or so years ago. That probably would have helped me study a lot earlier, because I had such a fear of, wanting to study, and because I didn't understand, my dyslexia and a lot of stuff come out in that. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm a feminist and I strive to be equal for all. And I do like to challenge oppressive practice and violence as well. I do have a passion in the domestic violence setting, and I think that's something, this whole professional framework for me has been based on, what I what I've done in my placement, and just where I will move after doing placement. I think that's really important for me. So I suppose I've learnt a lot during my placement, and doing this practice framework presentation we did at residential was really good for me, because I was constantly back there reflecting on what I had put in that presentation, especially around why I'm influenced to do what I do. That comes down to a lot of my work in Arm and Land that I did, the cultural side of things, domestic violence, having been a victim of that myself and experienced that, and just experienced oppressive practice and how detrimental that can be to a victim of domestic violence. So I think through my placement and stuff like that, I've really used and realised how important it is to use narrative therapy, especially when you're dealing with victims of domestic violence and also perpetrators of domestic violence as well. I think that's really important as well. So, I use the metaphor in my practice framework the tree, because I think it's so important, because the branches and the leaves off from that, why just tell such a story, the leaves, why is it important to have people in your life, and why is this person important to you? And I think that's important when we're looking at, safety networks or people that are in these people's lives. Why is it important? With domestic violence perpetrators, and you're talking with victims and stuff like that, was there any times that these people have been, good in your life and stuff like that? So I think that tree to me is brings a lot of things. The trunk is the skills and the interests, the roots is where I come from. The branches are hopes, dreams, and wishes. I know in child protection we have different tools where it's like safe, like security, like safety of security. So then we're looking at like people's like who's in their safety network, got the 3 houses, future house of hopes. So stuff like that like are all like relevant, tools that we use in our practice to help us inform our assessment. So I think I definitely didn't realize how much I am using theories in my practice already, and how I felt, I feel like I'm already at that professional level in what I deliver with my service. And I think like I've learned a lot sitting back in this placement as well around that child protection is such an anti-oppressive practice. And I think sometimes we do it to our own staff as well. I've sort of had that with the challenges I had to start with in my placement journey and stuff like that, having to really get people to, do what they promised to do and deliver the learnings that I deserved. And so that's that side of it. I think, I always making sure that I do that, through my practice, having the AASW, respect for self, for others as well. Sorry. Also your, justice, social justice is a big one for me. And that self-right for determination. I recently had a really complex case where, I had to push back against management because they were wanting me to safety plan the mother and the child out of the home. And I was like, no, because that would cause further risk to the mother. So, listening to her voice, because she's like got the lived experience of that. And so I suppose it's just important to remember that they have a right, their voice, and they have self-determination. And I think it's really important that I listened to her that day, because she was informing my assessment to what needed to be done. And so, by doing that, we actually kept her in the home, and I gave her all the information, and 2 weeks later she actually made the decision to leave herself, but thanked me for listening to her. And because other practices and services and, systems, I suppose, in general, hadn't listened to her. And I think acknowledging there's such siloing in child protection as well. So constantly, wherever possible, I'm advocating for change, advocating for the rights of these people and for fairness, and also pulling up practice when it's not okay as well from other colleagues. I think that's something that, I really, I have done over my placement and in this time. So, but I think overall, I have a lot of good skills, I feel, already, that I didn't realize I have. I'd like to further my skills as well, to inform more of the Safe and Together model. I'm advocating for a new role at our service centre, working with Dad's role. So that's more hands-on with the perpetrators, because we don't have adequate domestic violence services in Emerald. So I think it's really important, that role. So, I really push to get as much learnings around domestic violence. I've done my own learnings out of work as well, external stuff, and I'll continue to do that. I really want to do my master's in domestic and family violence. So that's something I will look to do after I have some self-care, because I need some after this. But definitely, want to learn more about, just, I suppose, making sure I'm really applying that narrative, the trauma-informed crisis intervention, which I do every day, systems theory as well. So just making sure that I'm applying them to what I do every day. And, critical reflection. I'm constantly critically reflecting on myself in all my practice and daily dealings I do with all clients. So, but overall, this journey has been such an emotional and rewarding and hard journey. But overall, I have done this, and I am grateful, because I've proven to my girls that no matter how old you are, or whatever gets you down in life, you get back up and you can achieve whatever you want if you're driven. So I just want to thank you all personally for everything that you've done to help me along with my journey as well. And I don't think like there's anything that I just strictly would like to change. I think if anything, I just want to keep learning and be the best practitioner I can be. So if I can change one person's life, then I've achieved my role in life in general. So thank you very much for everything. And yeah, thank you.